What's up, Packer fans? Mark here from the Packer Fan Network. And by now I'm sure you've all heard that the Packers have released James Starks and Sam Shields. Neither one of them was a surprise at all, but both of them will be missed. James Starks, as you remember, was drafted in the 6th round in 2010. He ended up getting healthy just on time to be the ground attack that the Packers much needed to make the run to the Super Bowl. And, unfortunately after that, the rest of his career, he just would get hurt and then he'd come back and not quite be the same. And, by the time he started looking really good again, then he'd get hurt again, and it would just kind of be a roller coaster like that. So he helped the team a lot, and he'll be missed. But once again, no surprise that they're parting ways with them. Sam Shields also came to the team in 2010. He was an undrafted free agent, and he also contributed great things to the team over the years, and he'll definitely be missed. To be honest, I was kind of surprised they brought him back this last year after a concussion in the 2015 season kept him out for way longer than I'd ever seen a concussion keep somebody out of the games for. So I was kind of surprised to see him back. And then when he got a concussion in week 1 and ended up being on the IR for the rest of the season, it wasn't really questionable whether they were going to keep him around this year or not. Both those guys were fun to watch over the years, but the NFL is a business, and that's how business goes. Now, as I just mentioned, both of those players having injury problems does make me think a little bit about the injury problems that the team has in general. It did seem to be a growing trend. There were a couple years where it seemed like it was getting better, like in 2014 and 2015. Even though Jordy Nelson was hurt for the 2015 season, and we did have injury problems on the line that year, the rest of the team did managed to do a pretty good job staying relatively healthy. To find out more about this, I looked at footballoutsiders.com, and they keep track of what they call adjusted games lost, or an AGL. And what they do is they take a look at player injuries and they rank all 32 teams. Number 1 on the list would be the least affected by injuries, and number 32 on the list would be the most affected by injuries. And as you can see up on my board here, what we have, looks like, a pretty bad trend of being on the lower half of the board. If you take a look at that, it's 5 out of 7 years that they showed are in the lower half of the league, and 4 out of those 5 years are 25th or worse. They don't have numbers up yet for 2016, this last season, but if you look, and here's the 2014 and 2015 seasons that I talk about. Like I said, it looked as though things were starting to kind of get better. But then this last year, anybody who paid any attention throughout the season knew that injuries were a problem plaguing the team. To find out more about that, I went to ESPN.com, and they show that the Packers were the number 2 most affected team by injuries, which by the way they rate it would put for 2016 would put the Packers at 31, which would be 6 out of the last 8 seasons in the bottom half of the league, and 5 out of those 6 seasons in 25th or worse. It kind of makes me wonder what's going on here. It looks like a pattern. Maybe nothing's going wrong, or could it be that Ted Thompson's conservative nature to re-sign players that could be injury prone because they're going to sign for a cheaper deal? Could it be that play calling, not necessarily play calling, but the way the plays are drawn up, does it have our guys in a position that puts them more in harm's way? Could it be that the training staff just doesn't have these guys properly prepared to play games? I don't know. I really don't know what the answer to this is, but I would like it to be something that gets figured out, and I think Mark Murphy should take responsibility to look into that a little bit and see if he can figure something out. If anybody out there has any ideas on this, you can put your ideas in the comment section below. If you think why the Packers have injury problems like this, or maybe you think I'm just a spoiled, whiny Packer fan trying to come up with excuses for why my team loses in the playoffs. But I mean, the numbers, I really don't think that that's the case, because you can definitely see a trend of being in the more injured teams in the league. But if you do think that I could be wrong about this, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. Or like I said, if you have any ideas that you think might be the cause of why the Packers year after year seem to have more injuries, you can put those down there. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, share it with all your friends, and subscribe for more. For the Packer Fan Network, I am Mark Schneider.